Okay, Lee's here. We made it work. It's amazing when that happens. Welcome, everyone. So glad you could all join us today. And we're going to get started in just a moment here. And we're going to let a few more folks filter in. So please do, if you just got here, if you've been here a little while, please jump into the chat if you haven't already and let us know where you're tuning in from here in our lovely Zoom. I see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of unfamiliar faces. So this is fun. It is Thursday morning, late morning here, and we've got a great lineup for you. We've got a number of experienced and new teachers, a little bit of each, people who've been through the certification program who are going to get a chance to tell you their story and share their experience with you. I'm very excited about it. I have spoken to all of these folks and they're wonderful and they've got very interesting experiences to share. So I'm looking forward to it. I've also got Lee with me. Mr. Holden, are you about?
Hey, thanks for unmuting me.
Nice
to see everybody. Exciting. And this might be the first time we're doing something like this, which is great. And I was on a podcast this morning and talking about all our teachers and some of their stories and how wonderful and inspiring it all is. So I'm glad we get to do this and share with everybody some amazing stories from some of our teachers.
Me too. It's been pretty fascinating watching this process unfold and watching these teachers go out there in the world and find more and more awareness of Qigong and more opportunity out there in the world over the past few years. When we first started, people would go out and figure out how to get some classes going and so forth. But now I find that more and more of the folks are finding that easy, and also in many cases being offered like, hey, come teach at my pain clinic or the senior center or the hospital. And then of course COVID hit and now they're all teaching on Zoom, but that's okay too. People seem to be adapting to that quite well. So I think what we're going to do, go ahead, Lee. Oh, Lee broke up a little.
I was going to say, that's just amazing that people are really able to teach on Zoom to their communities and really helping people in this time of need.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good time for that kind of thing, for sure. And there's certainly a lot more interest. Let me see. Looks like maybe people aren't seeing you. Let me spotlight you and see if that helps. Now, can they see Lee?
Can they see me now?
Yes, people can. That's great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what we're going to do is get started with just a little bit of tea, and I'm going to let people know what we're up to. So Lee, what kind of tea are you drinking today?
I'm drinking a combination of, somebody made me a South American tea, which is coffee with lion's mane and cinnamon and some oat milk. And then I'm also drinking some pu'er tea that I made for myself, which, Ben, I got from your recommendation of is it the veranda teas that you were saying that was the green tea?
Yeah, verdant tea. Yeah.
Verdant tea, and I did order some of their pu'er despite your lack of recommendation, just to try it out. And I agree with you, Ben. The Hidden Peak is far superior, but it's fun to try anyways.
Yeah, I love trying new teas. We got somebody in from Minnesota. That's where verdant tea is based, actually. I'm drinking Hidden Peak today. I have a little combination of two teas, a pu'er that's kind of a big cake called Big Snow Essence, which is a really nice poetic name.
Oh,
and we
that's
also
such a nice one.
Yeah, that one really is. But David taught me a little trick. You mix it with one of the tiny little mini tochas, and it makes this delightful blend.
Oh, okay. I'll have to try that.
Yeah. Zach is telling me to get Facebook Live, so give me a sec here. I'll do that. And then we'll be off and running. Great. So today, here's what we're going to get up to. We're going to go through, we got 5 lovely teachers who are going to come up, and I'm going to prompt them, ask them some questions. They're going to share their stories with us, and we're going to have that go on for a better part of an hour, maybe a little longer, depending. And then at the end, Lee and I will stick around and answer any questions that folks have for a while about the teacher training. And so we'll, oh, somebody's drinking tonic without gin. It's a good idea. So we will be getting started in just a moment here with our first teacher, and then we'll just kind of hang out with all the teachers one by one. And before too long, we will be then open and available to take your questions and have a chat with anybody who has questions about the teacher training. So let's get started here. Facebook is not cooperating. This is fun. Just gonna try it again. Start over. Page. Nada. Just frozen. Okay. Well, we may not be able to go live on Facebook today after all, because it's just not doing what it does. That's exciting. Well, we're going to have somebody on the team post over on Facebook that Facebook Live won't go live, and then we're just going to get started. So let folks know how to get to the Zoom, and we will we'll get going here. All right. So first up, we have Kristen. Kristen pulls in, and Kristen's tuning in from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Kristen, I believe.
Lee.
Oh, there we are. Hi, Kristen. How are you today?
I'm good, Ben. How are you?
Doing great, thanks.
Nice to see you, Kristen.
You too, Lee.
Yeah, it's been a little while. You guys saw each other for, was it the Three Treasures?
In New York.
Yeah,
In
excellent.
New York, yeah. Last time I was in New York.
That was awesome.
We did a Qi Gong day, and then we had a special outing at the Culinary Institute of America. We all did a really nice dinner, there. It was really fun.
Shared some good food.
Yeah, that's the beauty of doing a retreat that we're not doing right now, but we get to do special extracurricular activities like Qi eating.
Perfect. Okay, well, Kristen, let's get started.
Okay.
My first question is, why did you decide to join the certification program?
Well, I have been a yoga teacher and yoga practitioner for, I don't know, maybe 8 or so years. And I realized that I had become very forceful with my practice. I do have a bit of wood in me from my father, and my practice was very aligned. It was alignment focused. That was my training. And there was a day in February of 2018 where I looked at my purple yoga mat and I was like, we're done. We can't do this anymore. We can't live in relationship like this where I feel like I have to do so much and it has to be a certain pose and, you know, for so long. And it's like I broke. And I'd been practicing on Yoga Glow, of course, finding the hardest level 3 class. And, you know, it was rough. And that day, I was scrolling through all the classes. I was like, I'm ready for something different. And I came across Lee's, what I thought at the time was called Tao Yin. And I'm reading through the description. I'm like, I can't do this. this is crap. I can't move slow like this. I can't, whatever. I was like, something inside of me is like, just give it a try. And within 5 minutes of practicing with Lee, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I was hooked. I was like, something just happened here that I've never experienced before, and I'm willing to let it happen. And so from there, I took several of his classes through Glow, I guess it's called now. And then as a child of teachers and having taught a lot in my life, I'm like, I got to find this guy. Where is he? So I did a search and then started his videos. Did the 30-day 7-minute challenge, and then the video subscription for a while. When I mean a while, it was like a month. And then I turned to my neighbor one day because I got her into practicing with me. And I was like, Jennifer, what do you think about me going to California and training with this guy? She was the only person that knew. I don't have kids or a partner. And so it's like, I do nothing holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think in then April, I talked to Ben, and I didn't need any convincing. I knew that there was this experience in me that needed to feel the support and then allow me to then share this. So I've always been a sharer. Show and tell was my favorite thing as a kid. So I went out to see Lee in August of 2018. My plan was to just stay for the 5 elements because I'd started the 3 treasures online. Actually, I'd finished that. And then within 2 days of being there, I'm like, I gotta stay. I gotta stay for this. I gotta stay for the teacher training weekend. And, I was talking with my mom this morning about the experience. I said, there's really nothing that I've experienced that's been like this. And that you may get into this question as we did yesterday. It's just given me an awakening perspective on life. And then to be able to share that with people, it's amazing.
Yeah. Very cool. So you didn't take much convincing, it sounds like, and I remember when we spoke before, you talked a little bit about how it's just sort of like you like you said, you're doing the level 3 of the Yoga Glow. You're trying to do the biggest, most intense everything, and then maybe something shifted inside, and you were like, oh, I can relax into this, and that was
that's the thing, Ben, is that it really brought an awareness to me what elements were needing tremendous nourishment in my life, and in particular water.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, Qi Gong is all about the flow, and Lee's the flow master. And it was really allowing myself to receive the practice and to be in that flow. And I think there's no greater gift that you can offer the people in your community, the people in your life, is that witnessing transformation and receptivity and modeling, and not necessarily this is the way to go. And I think that's what I've gotten from teaching, is that you create the space and you create the energetic for people to be themselves. Mm-hmm. And there's really no other practice in my life that I have felt so cared for and been able to share that experience with other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So before you joined the program, your life was good, but it sounds like you had sort of a little extra drive. What was life like before you got into this whole thing?
Again, talking to my mom this morning was really aha. She said, we've witnessed how you've transformed through this. You're more patient. Water coming in, you're more patient, you're more calm. And I think many people have, and this is not judging, but an imbalance of the wood nature, just our society. And it's just the push, more. And I fed into that, and I still do to this day. But I now have the skills and the awareness to see it more readily, and then, allow the flow to happen versus trying to force it. So while there wasn't, I would say, a significant precipitating event, although that relationship that I had with yoga but it wasn't like I had an injury or something like that. I guess you could pull that out, but And now I just see just so much tremendous potential with the practice. And I feel like it's a salve. I feel like it's I mean, as it was developed to be this preventative healing process. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I was, and I've never practiced. I mean, I have dabbled with some other teachers, but Lee was my first teacher, and I didn't need any convincing. Is the way his personality and the way the program was structured, the support and the team.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you've been certified and also you've been teaching, how are you using your certification now, and how are you planning to use it in the future?
Yeah. So right now I am directing a lot of energy towards teaching on YouTube, and just started this week with a little Instagram 365-day 1-minute practice a day. And my next step is I'm appreciating the process. I think that's really, again, what Qigong has taught me, is to appreciate the process and build a know, like, and trust with a foundation of people who really want to be there, who you resonate with. And then what's the next level? So for me, the next level in the next month is to offer a workshop and then a series.
Cool.
And I got started with a few classes in person beforehand. And what I've recognized, and we all know now, that this is not going to end anytime soon. And I really do enjoy teaching online. So that's my next step. Beyond that, I think Lee sets forth a wonderful model of how to create a space where people feel supported in their learning, and they can see their growth. So not that I want to copy everything that Lee does, although secretly I do. It's
Not
just,
the only one.
Yeah.
Copy away.
Yeah. But what's been really unique, and I'll say this as an example for the teachers, is that you've always said that, Lee, is that that's the foundation that you set, and it's okay to repeat the same things you do. I mean, verbatim, when I first started teaching, I was Lee. But now, again, the receptivity of what's my voice has come out over time. And I enjoy that. I take pleasure in that.
Yeah, I found that to be the same. There's this sort of unfoldment inside of your own perspective, your own flavor, your own understanding and ability to articulate things that you're understanding internally now evolves over time. And I think that happened to Lee too. Surely, Lee, you must have started as a parrot like the rest of us. And now you've over 3 years.
Parroting Montauk Chia. Parroting Montauk Chia is very hard to do, because he's got full of idiosyncrasies and a very thick accent, and when people try to parody him, it doesn't come out quite right. So I had to really develop my own voice really soon into the practice of teaching. And I think you said it really well, Kristen, just about the enjoyment of your voice coming through, even if there's phrases or words or something like that, just the way in which it works through, it'll seep through you like tea.
Yeah.
Okay. There goes Lee. Internet problem, I assume. So we've got a final question for you, which is, what would you say to your past self, your pre-joining the program self, or to anybody who's potentially considering joining?
I'm gonna say it. It's time to come home to the heart. It's time to come home to the heart in this practice. Wow, I'm not fair. I'm a fire, so fires don't cry so much. We know how to come home to the heart, and that's what this practice. That's one of my favorite flows, and it's time to come home to the heart, and then from that we swim out. We share out. But I think that this practice really teaches you how to come home to yourself. And I think I said this to you yesterday, that I think the big take home is that it helped me have a much more harmonious relationship with myself and in such others and nature. So if you have the call to be here, you all showed up for a reason. you all showed up because you resonate with Lee in some way. And if it's your call, if you feel that welcoming home, and if you have the time, listen to that.
I love that. Yeah, that's sort of what I always say too, is that if you feel that draw in your heart to this type of work and to sharing it with people, listen to it. It's great to oh, look, we got even more fun in here.
Oh, goodness.
All right, I'll just get them out of here. Cool. Zach and all, if you guys could jump on that so I don't have to, that'd be really helpful. Thank you. Somebody boot Emmett. Great. All right. Bye, Emmett. Bye, Emma. Good luck, everybody. This might be an ongoing game. Yep, it is. What I don't understand is where they got the password, but whatever. Hi, Bellin. See ya. So thank you so much, Kristen. And I really appreciate you taking the time and joining us today.
Thank you.
And, Lee, are
Thanks,
you?
Kristen. It was so great to see you. And I'm so happy you're teaching, and you're so articulate over the Zoom about what your practice is and how to make that work. And I'm really proud that you're taking the work and running with it. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Kristen. We will see you again soon. And again, really appreciate your coming on to share your experience with folks.
Sure.
Great. Well, next up we have, who did I put? Oh yeah. Next up we have Patty. Patty, let's see if this works. It looks like it does. Patty, can we hear you?
Hi.
Yes, we can.
Hi. Hi, Ben. Hi, Lee.
I don't know if Lee,
He's muted.
can you unmute yourself, Lee?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, you can. Okay, good. I wasn't sure if you needed me to do it for
Okay, I can. Yep.
Okay, good.
We got this.
Hi, Patty.
Hi. How are you?
Hey, wonderful. So great to have you here.
Thank you. My pleasure. And I have to say, I'm being real. I have my tea, my organic turmeric and ginger, and my favorite Peter Frampton mug. So.
Turmeric,
Oh,
ginger, and
beautiful.
Peter Frampton. Excellent. Looks like we're ready to roll here. So, Patty, tell us, why did you decide to join the teacher certification program?
Well, of course, it could be a really long story, but I'll try to keep it short. I actually found Lee. My mom said, "There's this guy on PBS. You should try this out." And she was after me for years, probably, and finally got to the DVDs. And Lee, when you started putting things online, I started to get into it. And when you launched the video class subscription, I was right there. And so I feel like I've been with you guys through this online period here the last few years. And so the first online teacher training, when you decided to offer that as a weekend online, I just thought, I'm going to do this. I didn't ask anybody. I didn't tell anybody. I just thought, this is just too great. People need to know about this, and really wanted to learn and be able to share. And I always thought, as I really got into it, this would be so great for kids. And I'm a former preschool teacher. So that was another kind of goal, still is, to share Qigong with kids. So
Excellent. Well, I know that's something Lee's interested in as well. And it's just sort of a, as you say, you know, you kind of get them the tools and the skills early,
Right.
then they can avoid a lot of misery or process it differently.
At least help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where were you before you joined the
Yes.
program? What was, oh, go ahead, Lee. You're a little laggy, by the way, Lee.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, I love how people take the practice and really utilize it to, you know, to what they feel drawn to or what they're inspired for. You know, that's the beauty of the practice, is to take the practice and learn it, and then you can really implement it into your life, whether it's with children or elderly. It's so flexible in its application. So I love, and I love the idea of doing more with kids. So let's get inspired together.
Yeah.
Excellent. So before you joined the certification program, what was life like for you?
Well, I like to say that life is always good, but it does have its bumps in the road.
Mhm.
And after a very major loss in my life about 16 years ago, I was on a path of searching and a path of trying to be as well as I could.
Mm.
And I'm really seeking something. And I know Lee says that, you know, this is what people are seeking. They might not know it. You know, I always say, I didn't find Qigong, it found me. So,
Love that.
and so that is really, I think I was seeking something, and it is truly, I have to say, the most wonderful thing, probably besides having and raising my kids, my biggest accomplishment in life is becoming a Holden QiGong teacher. So.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So what kind of difference, and how has it impacted your life to do this?
It's given such a life focus, and like Kristen was saying, how you can see, you know, we sometimes you know, we look at ourselves, and you can see how you've come along in life, and I can see more calm, more peace, all those good things that Qigong can help us cultivate. And it's, ask any of my friends and family, they say, what are you doing, Pat? I'm doing Qigong. Kind of, Qigong is life to me.
Beautiful. Yeah, the catalyst for you was this loss and this grief, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And it's such a great tool set for dealing with those things that need to be processed. They need to unfold. There is a process for letting that unfold in your life when you suffer loss that is appropriate. But getting through it gracefully and being able to let go as grief unfolds is such a powerful skill that I think many of us don't have in our culture.
Very true.
I saw Lee unmute there. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, I mean, it really is through adversity, learning tools and techniques that goes through our adversity or whatever challenges we might have in our lives. And I think, you know, just having the Qigong as a tool and a resource to move through challenging times, whether they're personal or global, is such a great skill set to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's such a great skill set to share with other folks, because there's a lot of suffering in the world for sure. And being able to give people the tools to help whatever they're going through, because it helps with a wide variety of things, obviously. So in that note, how are you using it now or planning to use it in the future?
I am teaching on Zoom. I did do a Qi Gong for grief workshop, like an hour and a half a while ago, a couple months ago. And I'd like to do more with that. And right before COVID hit, I was scheduled to present Qigong at elementary school, which it took some doing to make that happen, and then it didn't happen. So I'm hoping to, once everything opens up and get back to normal, I really would like to work more with kids, and I'm actually starting a Zoom class for kids next week, and I'm really excited. I've had a few kids. I've had ages in class from 5 to 88, so fun.
Those 88-year-old kids are the most fun.
Best.
Well, I think that's terrific, and I love that you were heading into the elementary school, and I certainly hope that that one day there will be people in the elementary school again to head into, and that'll happen soon.
That'd be great.
What would you say to anybody else who might be considering signing up for the teacher certification program?
I think like Kristen, I would say listen to your heart. It was one of the best words of Qigong. It was effortless for me because it was like I just didn't even hesitate. So if you feel this calling, which I really feel that it is a calling, if you feel that and you have the resources to do it, it's the best.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing today and for coming along. Really great to have you here, and it's great to have you out there in the world sharing this stuff. And I hope that, again, you get to be in front of many, many children soon.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Just get to follow your passion there.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. We got a couple of folks in the waiting room. I'm going to admit them. Team, if you are able to see the waiting room, let me know so that y'all can at least give them a shot. Great. Great. So next up we have, thanks again, Patty.
Thank you.
Next up we have Dror. Let's see, where is Dror? There we go. Everything's bouncing because of this. This waiting room is at the top of the list of people, so I cannot get to Dror fast enough. There we go. Dror, did that work?
I think so.
Yay!
Okay.
Looking mellow and chill in your backyard. I love it.
Yeah, well, I just taught a Qigong lesson on Zoom right here. This is my studio in my backyard.
Perfect.
Sometimes I face the apple tree, and sometimes I face the loquat tree. Depending on how high I feel. That's a joke.
Ah, okay.
No.
Breaking up just a little bit, but we'll see how this goes. Hopefully smooth.
So I have a new microphone that should work really nice.
The mic sounds good. I think it's just the internet's a little straining.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. But let's see how this goes. We'll give it a whirl, and hopefully all will go well. So give us a little bit of history, if you wouldn't mind. Why did you decide to join the teacher certification program?
This is a great story. I love remembering it, and I love sharing it. because it brings this fresh energy to it. But it was a few years ago. How to say it in short when everybody here, I was healed by my teacher, Bert Goldman, who just passed away a few months ago. And what he said, this is Qigong. That's how I got healed. My life has changed. I canceled the surgery and I had a new reality within seconds. Seconds.
Wow.
And so I came back. It was amazing in this week of training that I was with Bert Goldman. As I said, I healed. It's not just I healed. It's like my life has changed. My pain is gone. My mind became clear. My perspectives became so much more positive. And what happened is I explored it personally. I watched and observed others like magic. Within seconds, minutes, their life has changed. And I was a part of guiding and supporting others to experience this. So, man, I can't express how in awe I was, how happy, how high, and how curious. And to town, and I thought, I want to learn more about Qigong, and I'll check it out. So I went to Lee's class once. I never left. I went just for one class, and I never left. I was there physically 3 times a week for every play, every practice. I was there on weekends for all. It didn't matter to me what the names are and what's the titles. It doesn't matter to me that much. I like learning different perspectives and different angles, and the essence, it's all one. As I said, it started just there. And Lee was amazing. I came there and we were doing all these moves, and it was multi-dimensional in the way that Lee talks about it. As he guides you through the move, it's not just lift your arm, but when you lift your arm, you feel your shoulders happening. Hey, loosen your wrist. And when we bend backwards, we actually pressing the kidneys. It's like, wow, I never thought about it. And then it became visualized, which I use a lot for my own well-being and for others. And it helps to focus the intention. And it was amazing. Just do this move, and he talks about parts of the body and the different organs and how we invigorate and how we warm up and how we stretch and how we flow. And it got my senses and my connection to my own being in such a way that I didn't know from before. So while I'm doing this, it was new for me with Lee, he started the teachers training, and I thought, well, I'm here anyway, I'll just do it. I never thought I wanted to be a teacher. In my lifestyle, I usually have my parallel reality is life by my design. So I usually don't have a need to have a certificate, but I really have this primal need to explore and satisfy my curiosity. So while I was there, I didn't really intend to be a teacher, but since I was there, I was doing it. It became a practice for me as a lifestyle. I practice it every day. I play it every day. It feels like a play. It's not a strain. It's just a play, and it flows. And once you do it, whatever minutes or 1 hour, boom, we create a new reality. So I did it really for myself. And being myself, I've been a teacher of my life of different things. I'm mainly known in the world as a percussionist. I play percussion instruments of the world, and I teach for many years. So this part just comes out of me naturally. And I really enjoy sharing with people, generally speaking. And in this case, more than ever, I feel like I became a missionary. So I said, all my friends, you have to explore it just for 1 hour. 1 hour, you have to.
I love
Then,
that.
whatever you do, and I warn them, yes, it's a bait. Open up on the table.
The Qi crack dealer over here. Just try it once. The first time's free. I love it.
Right.
Oh, that's
I love
great.
it.
Yeah. Great to have you.
Yeah, and Dror and I became good friends right from the first class. And I don't know if you know this, guys, but Dror is a world-class percussionist, and so is Ben. You're in the midst of two really good drummers here, and they're my teachers for drumming. I love it, that rhythm. And but Dror, you said it so well with with Qigong. It is a playfulness, and the translation isn't practice Qigong, it's play Qigong. And so we get to dive into that childlike spirit and really work with that healing energy from the inside out and touch to something that's primal and authentic to each one of us every time we get to do this practice. That's why it's always so fresh each and every day. So thanks for that, Dror.
Thank you. Well, Lee, you are an amazing student too. Amazing talent, amazing rhythm. It's just one thing. Attendance was a little.
Absolutely. I got to work on that.
That's great, Dror. That's so good. Love it. Great. Well, so you've definitely spoken to why you joined the program and what things were like for you before, but now that you've been through the program, and by the way, folks, Dror has the honor of being the fastest person to get through the program. Dror went from starting it to all knocked him down, and then went for his one-on-ones and started practice teaching and got it all done and just aced all the tests and was certified faster than anybody else. So having gone through that, for a guy who doesn't need certifications, you were on a warpath to get it.
I must say that if you're saying that I'm the fastest, maybe it's the only thing in my life I was the fastest, because I'm a very strong believer and promoter of sit down and do nothing.
Yep. You got to have the yin in there. But you'd been practicing and you'd been pretty consistent. I had a similar experience where I showed up to classes and pretty soon was like, I'm going to just go to the certification or the training, teacher training, just to learn more, just to deepen my practice, just to get a deeper experience of this and go deeper with it. And then as I was in there, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to share this with people. And then for those of you who don't know, I've seen a couple questions come through. I'm Ben, and I'm the co-founder of Holden QiGong. And my main way of sharing this with people was to start this business with Lee, to bring it to as many people as possible online and around the world. And we did that about 5 years ago. We started this business together, and we've been working hard to share the mission ever since, and really just to promote healing and health and taking responsibility for self-care and your own well-being, and giving people the tools to do that around the world. So so that's my story. Sorry to interrupt Dror's story, but I had seen some questions like, who is this guy? And I realized I forgot to introduce myself. But yeah, as soon as I got in there, it was like, okay, I'm doing everything I can and going the distance. So Dror, how are you using it now that you've been certified and fairly recently? How are you using it? What are you up to?
Well, I created some classes, and I've been teaching this last month. Like all of us are trying to figure out the new life via So I put in a bunch of classes. It was too much for me, and I decided this time I'm teaching about 4 times a week. I have Tuesday and Thursday on Zoom at 9 in the morning, and Monday and Wednesday I do this on the beach. The group of people. It's I love nature. I love being outside. I love the air. I think when we play Qigong, we get to be one with the environment, all of it, if it's the air, if it's the tree, the animals, and to be within it as we play, it's so much more powerful. And I love the energy of people, and I like to promote the community. And so, as I said, I do my life by my design, and since I like it and believe it, I put it together. And so I teach these regular classes. I also have some, a very few private students. The other day, this person that I know from before, I supported her on a very challenging time in life where she wishes that she will be on a different realm. And she wanted to join the class. And I thought, this is great because I know it'll be good for her. However, I was concerned that for a person in this situation to have a whole hour of play, it's maybe too long. So I suggested that we just do a private one. And we did a 20 minutes play. And after the 20 minutes, she was like a different person the way I see. But also she said, wow, that was amazing. I actually connected with it and I had energy and I can actually keep going. And I feel so much better and I'm relaxed. And she was expressing this word and my mind is so much clearer. So these ways that I use it, or the other day, there are a few older friends of mine that I take on me as supporting them. Support them, telephone call with a visit. This time everybody's lonely. And I go over for a cup of tea. And this old guy that was a veteran and really not doing well physically. And he had a PT, and they suggested him that maybe Qigong, but he doesn't know. And I said, okay, stand up. Let's do a chair Qigong. Not too good at this. It's new for me. However, I work by the essence. I recognize that one of his challenges is to keep balance. One of his challenges is to just even lift his legs. So I just made it up in the moment, and I made a couple practices that he is leaning on the chair, and the next one he was sitting and doing a couple moves and just bringing down. We did it for a few minutes, and he's like, wow. And he felt
All
so
it takes sometimes.
so and so slowly I
Great.
get different clients like this, and that I work with. I have different groups, and I did not approach different groups yet as companies or a gym, or I'm just allowing it to flow. One of my words, one of my messages is the magic of the flow. It has to do with recognizing where you are, with being balanced and focused, with your intention and the ability to sense your intuition. I have a whole practice. If anybody interested, I'll be happy to share a whole new things that I keep learning. And then I just put it out, and the magic of the flow, things happen. I'm really enjoying myself because when do my practice, my physical ability became so much better. My range of motion is so much bigger. The ease that I do that, it's so much bigger. And as a percussionist and a drummer, you always have some challenges. And now I don't. I have my mental, my emotions are so much better. My mind is so much clearer. And I haven't been sick in like long time.
Yeah, it does help with that, doesn't it?
That's how I use it. That's how I enjoy it. And I like to grow with it. I offer it to, I love traveling. I teach at different congregations or universities, or let's say last year at this time I was in Morocco. I do a tour to Morocco where I always share with my travelers and with the locals. So I take it wherever I go. Actually, it comes with me wherever I go. and I share it, and I believe that when each person is feeling better, then the world is feeling better, and that's how we're repairing the world a little at a time.
Well, thank you for sharing all that. And I'm so inspired by listening to you. And I think it's delightful what you're saying, because that's been my experience too. And when I teach privately, or I teach small groups, or I go to events and offer to teach from stage, it just is amazing the results that people get from just a few minutes, and the comments and people coming. It's like, wow, 15, 20 minutes. And they're like, wow, I've never felt this way before. And being able to have that experience with people is just profound, isn't it?
It's yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Dror, your energy is always contagious, and I think like a drum, when you start that rhythm, everybody falls into rhythm with your vibration. So I love that you're out there sharing this ancient wisdom. It's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing with me, for allowing me to share. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming today, Dror, and we'll see you very soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Next up, we have Kelly, who is one of our longstanding master class teachers. She's actually been reviewing people, doing the one-on-one lessons with folks as they're going through the teacher training, and teaching master classes on various topics throughout the teacher training for the last few years. And so, Kelly, I believe you've got the power. Can we hear you?
I have the power.
You do, and we can. Excellent. So nice to see you, Kelly. How are you today?
I'm well, Ben. Thank you. How are you?
Doing wonderfully well.
Good.
Excited
Good to see
here.
everyone. And Lee, hello.
Hello, Kelly. So good to see you. So good to have you.
Thank you.
Well, Kelly, you and Lee have known each other for quite a while now. Why did you decide to join the certification program?
Well, I like Dror. I have a story. This was the Tao leading me to the certification. Lee is smiling. He knows the story. I was living in England. I had been living there for over 20 years, and for a long time, well, decades, I was a ballroom dance instructor and choreographer, and I was the Argentine tango choreographer on Dancing with the Stars in the UK.
Yeah.
I was in, unfortunately, a car accident. Somebody rear-ended me while I was sitting at a traffic light, and I had a bad case of whiplash, and the dance career went, the choreography career went, and suddenly I found myself at a time in my life where I was not planning to have a new career or go in a new direction, but the Tao gave me a kick and said, you're going to change now. So within a few months, I very fortunately found Holden QiGong. I found Lee on a 30-day course, which only ever appeared once as far as I could tell. It was by an online publisher, and then it disappeared to the point where I almost thought it didn't exist, and I imagined the whole thing. But yes, there it was. And I had been looking very particularly for, I had been asking the universe for a new direction that involved movement and body and teaching, and something that was good for me and good for other people at the same time, good for my students at the same time, in an important and profound and therapeutic way.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this course, just popped into my lap, and I did the first 15 minutes of this 30-day program, and had one of those epiphany moments that come so rarely in life and are so very precious when they come. I had this, it was like a big neon sign arrow pointing down at the computer screen with Lee in it with his blue t-shirt, and going, this is what you're gonna do next. And it was, that's the cat behind me. It was just very clear. There was no question that this was what I was gonna do next. But the story gets better because my Lee is based in Santa Cruz, California, as we all know. I'm living in London, England at the time. My parents were on the East Coast, and they were just moving into a town called Poughkeepsie, New York, which is north of New York City. And I would periodically come over to visit them. And so I got onto Lee's website, and it turned out that the training, Lee gave teacher training, in fact, in Santa Cruz and in
Poughkeepsie, New York.
Poughkeepsie. This was before the video trainings.
Places we did.
Yeah.
Poughkeepsie. And not only was it Poughkeepsie, but in fact, the location where the trainings were hosted was on the next road to where my parents were moving to that very month. So I could just walk there. So the Tao said, this is where you're going next, Kelly. And I went, okay, I'll give it a try, and never looked back. It's fabulous.
Fantastic. And great timing.
And the Tao in its wonders and mysteries understands and all things. It's just a matter of observing the flow and riding it, going with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you were dealing with a lot of change and the loss of your previous path and physical fallout and so forth. What was it like before you joined the program? How were you feeling when you came to Qigong at first?
Well, I was stuck in my life in terms, I mean, I was choreographing, which was great. I had a career change going on because I had left my previous business and was teaching independently at that point, and things were feeling stuck and stagnant and not flowing, which I can say now as an understanding in my life. Sometimes we feel it in the body. We don't always recognize it when we're living it on a macro level, but I did recognize that. I can say it now. And was feeling okay. And prior to the accident, I was okay in my body, but it was, starting to age and probably needed moving in some different directions. And as Kristen was saying, I too was a person who liked to, hey, Lainey, I like to, do it hard. And it was a huge aha and life-changing discovery to soften, and I'm still learning more about it. I just led my first intro to Dao Yin course online. I did a whole stretch program and really learned even more about what it is to flow back and forth, finding an edge and not pushing into the edge, but touching the edge and then returning and getting this soft pulse to help melt the edges. Sorry, I'm going off on a different thing, but these are some of the things that I learned and discovered, and since coming into the practice, and it's helped me to this whole way of moving and approaching life has softened my mind. Softened my mind, but you know what I mean. It softened the hard thinking into more of an allowing mind, and softened the body where it was getting tense. And we were I love the computer, but the electromagnetics can be hard on the nervous system, at least on mine. So pacing that is a good thing. And also having an antidote for it, having a counterbalance by being able to soften into the flow. Those are that's sort of where I started and how things have changed.
Yeah, the differences that this has made in your life are obviously apparent in terms of where you were and where you are as far as it goes. And since you've been certified, I already know, but perhaps you could share with everybody how you've been using the certification and what your plans are for using it in the future.
Certainly. Well, thank you. I have been certified for about 5.5, 6 years now. I went I went both feet in. When I discovered the training, I dove in, did every immersion available. That's when they were in person. And then I went through the experience. I redid some of, well, I redid all of it online. And how I've been using my certification, I started with setting up my own classes in London. And then I also volunteered at a cancer support center, cancer care support center, where I was leading weekly classes for people who were dealing with cancer treatment, as well as their carers and supporters who needed some support. I also taught in a gym when I was still living in London, and I started working with people living with Parkinson's disease. So I was teaching at a Parkinson's support group, and since I've moved back to the US, I've started doing that as well. Also, since I moved back to the US, which was just about a year ago, I started teaching with 2 local colleges continuing education programs for people who are over 55 years old. So in my area, I'm in Poughkeepsie, just north of New York City. So I'm doing these continuing ed programs with Vassar College and with Marist College in the Hudson Valley. I'm also now done a big pivot, as you do, to online teaching.
Ah, yes.
So I currently have 3 Qigong classes a week, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And those are open to everyone to come on in. Just go to my website and click here. And I'm just on the cusp. I've been working behind the scenes, behind the curtain. I'm the person in front of the curtain. I'm also the person behind the curtain. Which you can appreciate. So I'm setting up my own subscription program. So that's about to start.
Great.
So I have my 3 weekly drop-in classes, and I've been doing courses online. I've done 2 Tai Chi Qigong courses so far since COVID has started, and I did a 3-week Dao Yin, which was so much fun. I also do one-to-one coaching that started when I started working with the trainees as part of the training program, and that has expanded since.
Good. Excellent. Well, I know also, in addition to doing the one-to-one, so for those who don't know, as part of the teaching certification program, you do one-to-one lessons with a senior instructor, and often that's Kelly, and she has been doing them for quite a while. And so Kelly, in addition to that, teaches master classes on particular topics. And what I think is so profound about that, and what's so great, is the way that you bring your experience in the past as a teacher of movement and alignment and structure and all that into those master classes. Perhaps you could just speak a little bit to some of the topics that you've covered in the master classes that are available to the teacher trainers.
Certainly. So as you've said, Ben, coming from my dance background and also from the fact that I'm a certified Alexander technique teacher. So often when I say the word posture, people go, whoop, I need to pay attention. I need to sit up straight. And I said, see, I'm a very good Alexander technique teacher. And often I find that some of it is the mechanics that are involved, and some of it is a matter of remembering to pay attention, remembering to attend to oneself, because I think Dror would appreciate, as all of the teachers here, that all of our daily life is a Qigong. It is a Qigong, and is an opportunity to practice Qigong and to practice our skillfulness with our self-cultivation. So in the master classes, what I tend to focus on is course content. So that which Lee has taught during the 16 weeks of the online program, and then deep diving a little on certain topics through my own filter, which I'm very grateful that I'm invited to do that. So thank you for that. I have done master classes on what we call the first 5-element flow, as well as the second 5-element flow called the Taoist 5-element flow, which is a little bit more complex in its movements. I recently did a master class on understanding the similarities, overlaps, and differences between various types of movements in the Holden QiGong series, what we call activations, stretches, and flows. One of the big questions that can come up in the training is it an activation, a stretch, or a flow? And our Western mind wants to categorize. Right. And in fact, there's a lot of overlap in these practices. Something that is stretching is also flowing. Mm-hmm. And something that is activating also stretches. Mm-hmm. So how do we understand the similarities and differences and work with them? So I did a whole, I love that. I just geeked out on that masterclass. Lots of fun. Yeah, so I tend to focus on the course content. Oh, I did a one on vertical alignment. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just particularly head weight. Often when we're practicing, let's say we're doing something like knocking on the door of life, and we're thinking about our lower center, and we're swinging around the lower center, and we're feeling it through the movement. We might forget that we have a head that weighs about 14 pounds, 10 to 14 pounds, and it's up on top. And if it's pitched forward, it's going to have a whole effect on the body. Or if we're doing a standing posture, or even a movement, if the head is somewhere off center, that can affect the efficiency and effectiveness of the flow of energy through us. Mm-hmm. So I did a whole class on just where is our head weight, and how can we pay attention to it, and how can we align it so that we're minimizing strain and stress through the neck and helping to open up the energy flows through all those yang channels that run through this congested area. So, and then flow through the rest of the body. Oh, I did one on rotational movement. Mm-hmm. Whole master class on rotational movement.
Well, I think it's fantastic. And it's one of the things that I feel like is great about having a community of great teachers. There's you, there's John Platt, there's a younger fella named Nick Lafree, who was living here at the Qi Center for a while back in the day, and went pretty deep, and now has kind of gone off in his own direction as well. And so we have these master classes available, and what's great about it is that each person has their own take on things and their own which aspects they tend to gravitate towards and want to go deeper into, and so that they can forge their way deeper into those things and then bring back stuff to share with the community. That's not what Lee would have brought back. That's not what how Lee would have expressed it and articulated it. And so I think it's something I'm really grateful that we have folks like you who are so enthusiastic to show up and participate, and such great teacher and experienced teachers. It's, between you and John and so forth, like the amount of teaching experience, the number of years of teaching experience is astronomical. So just sheer, background in teaching, and Lee as well. So it feels like a very powerful aspect to what it is that we offer, and we're very grateful for you. You also get to see a lot of individuals in the one-to-ones, and so since we've been doing this online, how would you say the online, and since you went through it initially in person, in a matter of a couple of weeks, you go through the whole 5 elements, the whole 3 treasures. I don't know about you, but I was high on Qi the whole time, and I took as many notes as I could, but it's a very different experience when you get to kind of digest that gradually. So how would you say, as somebody who sees all the individuals coming through late in their process, the difference is between the in-person teaching method versus the online, and maybe some of the benefits and disadvantages of each?
Certainly. Well, one of the, I'll start with a disadvantage and compare it to an advantage. So when you're in person, and Ben, I did the same thing, copious notes, notebooks full of notes. You're trying to capture the moment. And because it's, every moment is unique and special, but it's not going to be repeated. And so here's the advantage with the online training is that you get it, you got it, you have those videos, and you get to go back and do them again and again. So if the first time you go through it, you're learning it at whatever level you're ready to take on board the material. And then you go back to the material, watch those videos again, and you're ready to absorb at a new level. It could be a more expansive level, it could be a deeper level. And I recently started going through all the whole program again through the online system, and I'm going, wow, I'm hearing something, something's ready to reverberate and echo in me in a deeper way. And what a gift, what a blessing to have those recordings that I can go back to over and over again. Also, what I've seen is the way that the program is structured now. I've had the advantage of seeing from live only through a whole weekend at a time, once a month, which is a lot to take on, and then broken down now into the current 16-week format, is that the process of learning is incremental and broken down into absorbable, processable, bite-sized chunks. And I think that's a huge benefit. When I see trainees now coming for one-to-one sessions, it's after they've done the 16 weeks. Although they're welcome to take on, to book additional trainings prior to hitting that 16-week point, and people do that with me. But people often will do their 2 one-to-ones when they come to the end of the 16 weeks. And what I have seen is that I'm just very impressed that the trainees come to me and I go, they know this material. They have a handle on the language, how to describe things, what the 5 elements are, what the colors are and the sounds are, and some things about the relationship from one element to the other, what the emotions are that relate to those 5 elements or 5 phases. They really have an intellectual handle on it, and their movement, their embodiment is really good for someone who has not been in the room with the teacher in full dimensionality, but has seen this through a 2-dimensional screen. It's really good. Then I just get to not so much teach, but help refine. Take it to the next step for that individual if they're ready to go there. Say things like, oh, yeah, that's movement. Buddha, hold up the earth. That's going really well. What might happen if you softened your wrists a little bit? What? Kelly, how can you tell that? What do you mean soft? Oh, my goodness. I didn't realize my wrists were tight. Oh my goodness, that feels so much better in my neck and shoulders. My breath is coming more easily. And so that's really a refinement for that person. And I find it very, very cool that we can be thousands of miles away from each other, communicating through this flat screen, and yet be able to see and feel the quality of the energy as it is, and then help it to shift and open up more. And I really enjoy that process.
Fantastic. Well, one last question is, what would you say to somebody who is considering joining the teaching certification program?
Oh, come over, come on in. That's what I would say first. Come on in. The water's good. No, really what I would say is, if you're considering it, as earlier panelists have said, you have your, listen to your heart. For me, I would also add, listen to your gut, listen to your intuition, your inner knowing. If it's leading you there, come and join. The water's good on this side, and you have a lot of support. a lot of support from the staff, from the team as you go along. The structure of the course is great, really clear. Actually, I had a colleague of mine who has been a Qigong and meditation teacher, trained in other programs for many, many years. She's just finishing the program, the Holden QiGong program. Oh. And she says, I've learned so much more. So you might be new to Qigong altogether, or you might already have knowledge of Qigong or Tai Chi or meditation practices. There's a richness here that we thank Lee for very much. There's a lot to learn and spend your life developing. Also, you make good friends. I mean, people here are fun. And I've made good friends with my colleagues, people that I trained with, and people who are my mentees. You're a mentor, you have mentees. And we've become friends, and we continue to stay in touch with each other. So it's a lovely and growing community. So, but there's absolutely no pressure. Also, you
100%.
You do what's right for you. But if you're thinking about it, you're not sure, it is fun over here.
I love the way you say the water is fine. It is fine. We have lovely water. It's delicious. It tastes good. It feels good. Everything's good about it. But not everybody's thirsty, and that's totally fine. No pressure, no stress, and don't do it if it doesn't feel right and it doesn't feel like time, is what we always say. Our goal is to help folks make the decision that is in line with their intuition. And if there's intellectual crap in the way and we can help clear some of that, we will. But if it's not, if their heart isn't drawn and isn't driving them towards it, then we help them make that decision too and get clear on that as well when we speak with people who are considering it. So I really appreciate what you said. No pressure, no anything really. It's if you want to be here, great. That means there's probably a good chance that you'll get something delicious out of it. And if you don't, great. But thanks for coming and listening to our people's stories. And thank you, Kelly, so much for sharing yours and sharing your experience with us and being part of the crew.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Lee. Hasn't said
Thank you,
anything
Kelly.
while I've been chatting, just smiling, but thank you, Lee. I mean, from bottom of heart and body and mind. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure to hear you speak and talk about your story and your journey. And I think what we can really see is just the quality of our teachers. As Ben was saying, you've been teaching not necessarily Qigong for a long time, but dancing in the teaching world, and being a teacher is a whole skill set in and of itself. And to have teachers like yourself with so much experience teaching Qigong is so powerful for the work that we're trying to do and spreading the blessings of this ancient practice for modern times. It's so relevant. So thanks so much, Kelly. So lovely to see you.
Good to see you, Lee. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Well, next up, we have Angela. Angela, you have the power to unmute. And I think we can hear you.
Hi. Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, you are here.
Yeah.
What a lovely setting you're in. You're in your home Qigong studio?
Little home studio, yeah.
I love it.
I turned our garage into a Qigong studio when I figured out that I have to move in order to heal and do what I really want to do in life. And so I live in the Pacific Northwest, and it's not always climate that you can be outside in all the time, to do things. But yeah, here I am in my little studio right now.
Well, I love it. Well, tell us a little bit about why you decided to join the certification program.
Yeah, thank you. It was lovely to hear everybody. And actually, Ben, I just admire your ability to orchestrate all the technical stuff while you're also orchestrating the panelists and everything. To me, it just reflects on the whole quality of the whole training program. And I'll just start with that when I went online and saw what the program is, the teacher training program, it just seemed intuitively easy to understand what was involved and what would be expected and what I would get. Backing up from that, I was at a point where I had gotten clear that I wanted to study Qigong because I'd been introduced to it years ago. And I asked a friend of mine, Solala Towler, who would you recommend? And he said, Lee Holden. I had no idea who Lee Holden was, but I went and looked at the website, sampled some of the free stuff. And because I already had background in movement and had been introduced to Qigong, and the program looked so fantastic, that's it. It was the right time. It was like other people have said, when you're in the right place at the right time, it seems to come to you, you know, through people or circumstance. It just, yeah, that's what made me choose this particular Qigong teacher training program. So I have other things that led up to me even choosing to study Qigong, which I could also share.
Yeah. Let's talk about what life was like for you before Qigong came into it.
Well, I'm 60. And so when I discovered this program, I was about 57 or 58. And way before, in my 20s, I had a thriving beginning career in dance, choreography, and teaching dance and movement studies. I loved just tons of things about movement studies. I also became a certified Laban movement analyst and at that point. But then toward the end of my 20s, some tragedies happened. A dear friend died. I plummeted into depression. I started an eating disorder. I started drinking, and I really went off track. So I went into a real long phase of the Shadowlands. And coming forward, I finally found my way into recovery, into a healing path. And when I did that, I realized that one of the most important things to me was to try to reclaim or rediscover my dance. Well, who am I? Because that was one of the most important things to me, discovering dance. It was partly my spiritual path. It was my heart path. I was told I was a really good teacher. So part of my healing was, how can I return and kind of resurrect, find out who I am, if that's still available. And because I'd been introduced to Qigong, and there was a seed planted years ago from a different person, I didn't even remember the movements, but I remembered the qualities. I remembered, in a way I could say, the principles: spiraling movement, breathing, connecting with nature, pleasurable, enjoying the movement. So I just started doing what I now call spontaneous Qigong. And then I realized, oh, this is, I need this. Okay, now I want some training in this. You know, I knew it had ancient roots in Chinese medicine and Taoist shamanism. And so I was looking for structure, I was looking for support, and I knew how to follow my body, but I also wanted a community and I wanted a teacher. And so when things lined up and I was introduced to Lee's work, and that I had actually lived in Santa Cruz when I was a child, you know, there are all these different elements that just said, this is it, do this. So that was what was leading up to it. I had kind of found my healing path, and besides nutrition and working with therapists and doing various things in my life, I really wanted something like Qigong. And I wanted to find out, you know, if I could share this with other people. Could I find me the teacher that I used to love teaching movement and leading movement? And I have. I'm teaching classes, and I have ever since I got into the part of the program where you teach, you know, you do your student teaching. And I haven't stopped since then. I got into teaching. I have local people that continue to come to me. Had to move on to Zoom, of course. Yeah, so that's how life was before, and why I chose this teacher training program.
Terrific. And so you're using it now, teaching. You've been teaching some local classes, you've been teaching some Zoom classes, and how are you planning to use it in the future, use your certification?
Yeah, well, partly why I picked Qigong and a certification program was it seemed to me, on a practical level, in the conventional world, it gives you legitimacy to have a certificate. It also gave me structure, because I felt really scattered. I didn't know where to focus. So my thinking there was that on my resume or whatever that is, that I have this certificate. But really, well, okay, let me back up a little bit. Before COVID hit, I was weaving Qigong. I'd been certified and I was weaving Qigong into my classes for seniors with dementia. So I would go to senior assisted living and do that with them. And that was incredible. I really, in a way, it wasn't like a structured Qigong class. As Dror was speaking, I met them where they were at. And they taught me as much as I taught them. And I found that we connected in the Qi field. And I just moved, and I knew that elements of my Qigong were coming into it, as well as other things. And I would love to continue doing that. I don't know when I'll be able to get back to doing that live. I was just invited to a local caregiver training conference to introduce the caregivers to Qigong.
Perfect.
Both for their own benefit and then to be able to cope with the strain of being caregivers.
Yeah.
And I would love to develop that a little bit more, but that's pretty new. I don't really have a program developed. And I'm also collaborating with a friend of mine, a colleague. We're creating an educational online thing with nervous system regulation, understanding how the nervous system works, and then practical ways of using Qigong and other means to help calm the nervous system. Anybody who's doing Qigong knows what a beautiful calming, grounding practice it is. And so we'll be using that to take out into the world for people in recovery, people who are doing mindfulness, coaching. I'm not sure where that will all go, but I'm really excited about how we can take Qigong and weave it into other kinds of work that we're doing.
Yeah, I find that very inspiring. What's amazing about having been here a while and spoken with so many of the teachers and the prospective teachers, people are considering the program and so forth, is that every time I get on the phone with somebody, it's like, I don't know what they're going to be about or what their life path is going to be. And I love to hear the stories, and I love to hear what they're inspired to do with the teaching. And many people are on their own mission, or they have their own, what brought them to it. They want to share with other people who are suffering from what they've suffered from. And many people just get so lit up. There's life before Qigong and there's life after Qigong, and they're so lit up that they just want to share it with folks and become a Qigong teacher. But there's others who are like, well, I've been a psychologist for 15 years and I'm discovering that antidepressants are horrible for people. And I've been working on a program for the last 5 years to help people get off antidepressants. And then I found Qigong and I'm like, this needs to be in my program. So now I'm doing the certification. So their mission is very specific and not just to become a Qigong teacher. And I love to see that. So when you say, yes, we're, working with somebody on the nervous system and how to help folks release trauma and how to help folks deal with all of these other particular things, that the mission is kind of a meta mission for us, right? It's to bring these tools to as many people as possible and let them use them for whatever, just because everybody's been around here a while knows how profoundly effective they are at so many levels of our being. And I know when we spoke before, you also spoke a little bit about how effective it's been at the spiritual level for you. Is that something you'd like to speak to a little bit?
Sure, yeah. Wow. Well, when I did the Three Treasures immersion in Santa Cruz live with the group and with Lee, it was kind of a return home too, because like I said, I'd lived in Santa Cruz part of my life and we were doing Qigong on the beach. And I also had some profound healing happen for me spontaneously that I would say would kind of be like ancestral lineage, family healing, that I wasn't even looking for that, but it just kind of happened. It kind of happened in that whole context of being there. And ever since then, the Three Treasures flow sequence, or the Three Forces sequence, that's been like my home base. It's been the place where I personally, I'm teaching it in my Qigong classes, but just for my own personal practice, That's become my home base where I tune into myself. I'm present. I'm connecting, reconnecting with and nourishing my sense of purpose for being here. And also for how I connect with the world, with the universe. And I really felt like I needed that in my life. It's like I don't have a particular, religious practice that I do. And I'm not turning this into a religion. It's just that it's nourishing me on a spiritual level and it's guiding me. Like for me, the 5 elements are these almost like these characters or archetypes that sometimes show up powerfully in my practice and just point, this is what you need today. So it's part of my opening to this guidance that's bigger than myself. And I don't really bring that into my classes a whole lot, because I feel like that's very personal. But personally for me, that's part of why I'm here, why I'm passionate about Qigong, is because it nourishes so many aspects of my life. And yeah, so I'm thrilled to be able to say a little bit about that.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. It is very personal, and I appreciate your sharing. Well, last question. What would you say to other people who are considering signing up for the certification program?
Well, if you're considering signing up for this program and you've been looking at it, wow, okay, I want to say, other people have said fantastic things. Listen to your heart, listen to the flow, however you want to put that. But I would also add that I've been in a couple of other online programs, certification programs, and I don't like comparing, but I just want to say that this is the most generous program I've seen. There's ongoing master classes. There's live talks with Lee. There's, lots of different options for continuing education. I can go at my own pace. I can repeat things. There's a community of teachers and people who are training to be teachers that are lovely people to interact with. It just feels there's so much Qi and abundance and support that just on that note, if you already know you're interested and you really want to go your own pace, or you want to go fast, or whatever your pace is, it's really a fantastic program. And eventually I hope we can also go and study in person again too, because I'm kind of eager to do level 2, so hope that's going to come on board before long.
Too.
Yeah, so there's probably more I could say, but those are some of the highlights that stand out for me.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for coming today and for sharing your story. And for those who want to learn a little bit more about Angela's story, I think the blog post where Ian had interviewed you went out yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
So certainly you can go to our site and go to resources and articles on our website and find that if you want to read a little more about Angela's story. I really appreciate you sharing it with the community and with the group. And thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks so much, Angela. It's
Yeah,
so
good to see you.
inspiring to hear your story. And I love the blog post article that came out.
Yeah.
Just wonderful. Fills me up. Makes my heart just expand. It's so great.
Yeah.
You too. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Folks, that is our list of teachers to share with you today. And Lee, how was that for you? It's pretty moving, wasn't it?
It's so moving. I mean, I think, you know what, I've been just loving our Zoom calls with getting everybody online, and even our subscription classes with getting questions and getting to hear people's story, because always within the question is the energy, and within the question is the story. And, we as human beings love stories. And, I especially love hearing stories about how people are benefiting, getting inspired by this ancient practice. It was something that inspired me early in life, and to feel that inspiration and then spreading into other people's inspirations is really incredible. So yeah, thanks all for your energy and bringing those stories to everybody, because I think it's through our stories that the spark continues to get passed along from person to person. And this has been a word of mouth practice throughout history. And from teacher to student, that teaching has sparked. And I always think the journey of Qigong as a practice in and of itself is quite incredible, going from, you know, the mountains of China and nature into modern life. I think that's a very inspiring story, and how it's spanned the kind of the test of time, thousands of years, and cross-cultural, that we as human beings it's relevant to all of us as human beings, and that it has implications not only to our own health and vitality, but into how we treat each other and our relationship to the world around us with the earth and nature.
Yeah, I find that very inspiring as well. And, you know, these principles were drawn from nature, and so to see that they continue to work is you know, certainly not surprising when you really kind of dive in and you understand where the principles come from. But it can be very shocking at first when you're like, how could this stuff that's thousands of years old be so helpful to us dealing with what we're dealing with now in this modern world? It really can be a little bit shocking at first. So I love that. Well, folks, I know there's been a lot of chat in the chat about how to contact the various teachers that are here. We will send out a replay email, and we will include how to reach each of the folks who you heard from today. They're all going to they've given us all a link to how to go find them. We are now going to stick around for anybody who wants to, and anybody who has questions, who's considering joining the teacher training. This isn't a normal Tea with Lee where we're going to get into, you know, prescriptions for specific ailments or the stuff we normally do on Tea with Lee. This really is a time for those of you who want to stick around and have questions about the teacher certification program, and Lee and I will be here answering them. So if that's you, please feel free to stick around and ask your questions and get them answered. The show is over officially now that we've been through our roster of amazing teachers. And I just want to express one last time how grateful I am to each and every one of you for taking the time, and for not just taking the time to be here today, but really for taking the time to be a part of our mission and to really bring this work out and put your own wrapper on it and flavor, and become part of this mission that we are on, and that has really taken over Lee's life, and now my life, now many of your lives in these other ways that are really quite beautiful and profound. So my gratitude whenever I see and hear the stories of people who are sharing our mission with the world is just, it's ever bigger. So thank you so much, all of you. Anybody who would like to, please feel free to either put questions in the chat, and we'll try to pick off as many of those as we can, or if you'd like to, you can also raise your hand with the raise hand button, I think exists somewhere after you go to participants and then over to raise hand at the bottom of the list of people that comes up. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in, and we'll take as many as we have time for, and just kind of go from there. All right, got a few starting to flow in. Oh, and Zach just put a link in the chat. We are, part of why we're here talking about this today is we do have a special promotion going on right now with a discount of $500 on the certification program. So we'll be doing that till September 8th, and there's a link in the chat. It's qigo.ng/TT, so it's kind of easy to remember. Actually, that was really hard to remember, wasn't it, Lee?
Yeah.
Great. Well, let me tackle a couple of logistical questions here. One is, if we don't sign up for the teacher training now, what would be the next opportunity, says Joanna. Actually, you can do it anytime. It is self-paced, and it is sort of done at your own pace. While the 16 weeks of core curriculum are released on a weekly basis, you don't have to keep up with that. You have up to a couple of years to go through it without needing any additional training. It does come with access to the master classes twice a month and a teacher-only Q&A session with Lee once a month. So we'll do those. Those are consistent and ongoing. So wherever you are in your particular process, you can come get your questions answered. And for the rest of time, you will continue to have access to those master classes as we continue to teach more and more of those. Those who are signing up now are going to be kind of a little cohort of sorts. So we'll be having a welcome Zoom session for all of those who are signing up during this promotional period, just because there's a bigger number of them than there are with the normal day-to-day when we do something like this. But you certainly can sign up anytime. We will probably do another special of some kind, although it may not be a discount like it is now, in another 9 months to a year, something like that. Can you say more about the 2 tiers of certification? Sure, there's actually a few tiers. The first tier, the 200-hour, this is like most other certification systems, like a yoga training or other certifications, where there's the 200 hours, the baseline of, okay, now I can go out there and teach with confidence. And then there are higher and higher tiers. And so the specifics, there are details about the tier 2 training, which is a 500-hour certification, on the website under the teacher training navigation. And then there are also other tiers that we've mapped out, the 3 and 4, which go up to really quite a long period of time. To be a tier 4 master certified teacher would be like a 10-year journey. And that would enable you to start teaching the teachers, kind of thing. And so that's sort of the pinnacle of achievement that we've defined. But tier 2 is where we start to really make sure that we have some in-person experience. So there are requirements, just like the tier 1 is made up of a really deep dive into the 5 elements and the 3 treasures. Tier 2 is made up of a deep dive into these Dao Yin practices, which both, well, I think 2 or maybe 3 of our people had mentioned. I know, Kelly, you've been teaching those, as well as Kristen was discovered Lee through them, which is this ancient sort of ancestor to both Qigong and yoga, and something that Lee is an expert in. And then we also have tiers beyond that, where you start to really dive into medical Qigong practices and deeper understanding of the background and the Taoist philosophies and all these types of things. So over time, we're going to be continuing to pave that road to mastery. But for now, it's really tier 1, the 200-hour training that you can do exclusively online. And tier 2 exists, and we're figuring out how to bring some of it online towards the end of this year. So you can do some of those requirements despite the coronavirus situation. For tier 2, those of you who were already tier 1 certified may be interested in that, but we'll get back to you with that towards the end of the year. Lee, have you been fielding some questions in chat?
I am looking for them, yes.
Anything jump out at you?
Do you want me to answer them?
Yeah,
Answer them verbally here?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. I'm trying not to do repeated ones that you've done. Can it all be done online? Is there a requirement to show up in place in person? You can be all done online, and we know we have master classes with teachers that some of the teachers that you've seen. All the master classes that these teachers and myself have done are available to you. Plus there's new ones each and every month, which, I really like, because it just keeps a collaborative, ongoing relationship with the practice. And that is wonderful. And that's the beauty of modern technology, using it for something, really wonderful, like getting certified in this ancient art. Let's see. Can you speak to the structural design of the weekly classes? Are they all video or audio, and how is the manual woven into the curriculum? Well, each week in the curriculum is a different part of the training. So the first part of the training, we go through the 5 elements, and the second part of the training, we go through the 3 treasures. And each week you know, we sort of highlight the day of the live training, and then we give a complementary material to that training. So if we were talking about breathing, for example, on that particular day, we'll then give that section or a complementary program to go along with it, whether it's audio, whether it's video, to complement the day of that training. And so that's how it progresses. Each day is broken down, highlighted and organized, and then we bring adjacent content and complementary content to support that, whether it's verbal, audio, or video.
Right. Yeah, we do have some lecture and audio meditations, as well as then some of the items from our healing series and learning series. Some of the beautiful outdoor work is included in the program as something that you can use to practice the principles of that particular week. So that's a good way to put it, Lee. Are there teachers in the UK for possible in-person events in the future? Kath says, well, unfortunately, Kelly is smiling over there because she's like, oh, you missed me. Now she's in New York. But certainly there are folks who are in training now, and I believe there may be a couple of other certified instructors who are in the UK at this point as well. But one of the things we've talked about, certainly as things open back up, Lee and I have been talking a little bit about trying to do some of the in-person trainings over in Europe. The in-person trainings, so the 5 elements and the 3 treasures are these 2 core principles in Chinese medicine and in Qi Gong practice and in Taoist theory. And those of you who join the certification program get to go through all of that curriculum and digest it, as Kelly was talking about, in this sort of gradual process that allows you to really internalize these principles. However, the in-person week-long experience, the retreat, is also a true delight and a very transformational experience, because then you're practicing in a group, and Lee is taking people out into nature and doing these practices with nature and with the group, as well as sitting down and having tea sessions and doing learning all of these same principles and concepts in a much more focused way, like the one where Kelly and I had to take copious notes. I'm looking up at my notebooks full of notes from those weeks as well. So those are wonderful, and we do offer half off the retreat to anybody who has gone through the certification program, so that you can have that experience of coming in person to complement the deep learning that you're doing in the more academic sense through the online program. So we will do one of those in Europe as soon as we can, honestly. There's pent-up demand. We're ready. So can't say when, but
yeah, that's true. I miss our live and in-person trainings. Are just so fun. As one of our students who's local here said, oh, those weeks are just some of the best weeks of my life. And that's what we try to make it, just collaborative. You meet some great friends and connections that sometimes last a lifetime. Plus you just have a very elevated, energetic, fun, inspiring time in those weeks. And I like that we have all the online training and the content, and then when you want to come do a week related to the teacher training, it's half off, because I do try to give extra stuff that you wouldn't necessarily get in the online training. And then the online training complements the live training, so that you always have, you don't have to take as many notes. Back in the day, there was no online version of this. So, Ben and Kelly took a lot of notes, and now we've taken those notes for you, and we videotaped it. And so you can always have that to go back to, because we want you to remember, we want you to be present for the training when you are there live. And then they complement each other so well, from informational learning to transformational learning, taking you all the way from A to Z, or from A to Qi, as I like to say.
I love that. Now, on that note, Alina is asking, hey, thank you for all you're doing. You're welcome. Thank you. I'm interested in the teachers program, but I really like in-person training. Are you going to plan in-person training anytime soon? Great question. Honestly, we just are in a wait and see mode for now as far as scheduling things. We had thought about maybe scheduling things for now-ish back in spring and decided against it. And I'm really glad we did, because we can't actually have those things now. But the the in-person training is really, at this point, because the curriculum is so effectively delivered through the online, the in-person experience, these retreats are really a complement, as Lee said, to the online training. So we do require people to do the online curriculum in order to become certified and to kind of have access to that and be able to refer back to it and have access to the master classes and the Facebook community and all these components, as well as the one-to-one lessons that you get as part of the certification process. So while we are eventually going to have the in-persons again, we do require that people go through the online in order to become certified at this point. The question also, another logistical question, have the first 10 people already signed up, or is there still opportunity to get the in-house teachings? Right, when the initial promotion went out, we did offer an early action bonus first mover advantage of some access to these in-person retreats for the first 10 people, and I'm afraid those 10 slots are already gone. So they went fast this time. Anything else jump out at you, Lee?
Somebody's asking if they don't really want to be a teacher, but they, they're interested in the training. So I was just answering them saying how wonderful it is for a personal practice, a deep dive into it. And then, like many people who've done it this way, they end up teaching at some point later on or teaching to friends and family. And, but first and foremost, it's always about you. And when you are learning something to teach, you learn it at a much deeper level than you would otherwise. So I think it's wonderful in that regard. Yeah, and somebody else I'm answering about, they're an acupuncturist, and how is this program connected to the study of TCM and acupuncture, and is it worth it if you already know some Qigong and are an acupuncturist? And absolutely it is, because this course is really designed as transformative learning. And when you cultivate and develop your own Qi, whether you're an acupuncturist, body worker, psychologist, living in life, dealing with people, you bring another level of energy to the conversation and to the healing. So as acupuncturists, we're bringing our Qi and our Shen into a treatment. And it's, every bit as much important as the points that we use, the energy that we deliver. So that's what it's so important in that transformative learning. As an acupuncturist, you might already know a lot more theory than we would dive into, but really the focus and the emphasis for me is on transformative experiential learning, and to really give a deep dive into the practice of Qigong. So you might get some repetitive stuff, but there will be some additional stuff as acupuncturists to learn in this training.
Great. iPhone is asking, if I am brand new to Qigong, is this appropriate? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, if they're new to Qigong, I mean, I love it, because there's been people that have dove into the practice very new and then started the teacher training quite early. And as you were saying, Ben, it is self-paced. So as you start learning it for yourself, and you can start sharing it with people, and it's a great way to learn it at a deeper level. So just take it at your own pace, learn the lessons, review. I'd recommend doing the subscription alongside with it, so you just really get an immersion into the training, and then share with people at your own pace. Share it with your friends and your family, and say, hey, I'm doing this Qigong training, and I really want to become a Qigong teacher. Can I teach you a little bit about what I'm learning? And do it that way for 6 months to a year, and until you're ready to go out there and start learning it and sharing it on more professional levels, like teaching it at a yoga center or a health club or a hospital or whatnot. So yeah, dive in. I recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Great. Somebody's asking if it's all pre-recorded. The core curriculum is pre-recorded. We went through and taught it over several weekends for 3 or 4, I think 4 rounds. And the 4th one, we got really great video capture of it. And Lee's teaching had sort of morphed from teaching these in-person 2-week-long, teacher training, and figured out how to make it really, really work effectively as an online curriculum and program. So at that point, we bottled it up and pickled it so that we could capture it and really build the curriculum and the training and the program around that. So that's what makes up the core of the program. And that's why it's also self-paced, is because these are pre-recorded. You can go through them at your own pace. You could do it in 16 weeks as they come out, 3 to 4 hours a week, as somebody else was asking, of actual video content. Or you can do it over a year if that's what you need to do, or even longer, as some folks have done. So, so yes, but however, meanwhile, the master classes are live. Those are taught twice a month on other tangential topics or deep dive into specific parts of the training, as Kelly was talking about. And we also have a live Q&A call with Lee for teachers every month. And then we have the 2 one-on-one lessons that you get that you're required to take with a senior instructor such as Kelly or one of the others before you are certified, to help refine and dial in your technique, dial in your understanding, and get a chance to really ask about anything that you're uncertain about, if there is such a thing, and to kind of strut your stuff as you're starting to teach and do practice teaching hours, so, to somebody who can evaluate your progress. So those pieces are all live. It's a good question though. Another question, can the content in my video library I have acquired be used toward the personal practice portion of the curriculum? The key element there is, if you are practicing, what's ideal is practicing the supplemental materials that we give within the week and or the subscription to Lee's classes, because you get to watch Lee in action and teaching. And as you start to understand the principles and all the elements that you're learning, you start to see how they play out in classes week to week, and that can be very valuable. However, we don't require anybody maintain the subscription during their teacher certification program, because it is a lot of time and content to consume all of it, and not everybody has the time. If you practice with the stuff that comes inside the training, then that's absolutely apropos. That's probably the best thing. However, a lot of the items in the media library also go into some of these topics, and some of them are included in the training so that you can practice with, as Lee said, for example, if it's all about breathing this week, the Better Breathing program that's part of our healing series that's out there in nature comes along that week, and you can use that as part of your practice hours to really go deeper into those principles. So the answer is yes, and also ideally you'd practice as much as possible with the components of the training itself. Anything else jumping out at you, Lee, at the moment?
Somebody just has a lot of background. This is Richard's question, with meditation and vibrational energy methods. Also studied hypnosis and Qi Gong, and how, now with somebody who has, decades of experience like Richard, how can this training really help? I've had a lot of people go through the training, like John Platt, who's, studied Qi Gong and Tai Chi, Kung Fu for 35 years. And, from his feedback, he just said that he learned so much that it became a cohesive, like a lot of his training became very cohesive after doing this particular certification. So that's what I'm really hoping for. And that's what my goal was, to make it a cohesive training that you could say, let's study this system, this system, this system. Now with this training, you're going to get the principles of practice. You're going to really integrate all that knowledge that you have into a cohesive whole. And that was my goal. So that's my hope for the training as you go through it. And there have been people with lots of experience, both in the energy arts, meditation arts, and martial arts, to go through the training and give that feedback. So that's what I would recommend, and see how it works. Mm-hmm. I just answered the question privately, but somebody was like, I'm not in good shape. Can I still do the training? And, the training will get you in good Qi shape, which is different than, physical fitness. We want to be Qi fit is the goal, which is a mind, body, emotional kind of fitness. And that's what the training is designed to do. We have people that are, you know, in their 80s and 90s doing the training. We have people that are, that were very overweight doing the training with our work with Weight Watchers. And it just gets you on the path to holistic fitness. And so, yes, you can do it from wherever you're starting from. You can start this training because it is inclusive and is designed for everybody, all bodies. That's all I have right now. I'm looking for more.
Great. Jillian's asking, is there a hands-on component for healing through Qigong? It's very interesting you asked that. We did do a Buddha Palm program recently, and we are finishing up some of the extra materials and so forth from that, and it will be available on our website as a course within the next month, I would say. And that's kind of an introduction to getting your hands lit up so you can do hands-on work in healing using Qigong. Medical Qigong is very similar to Reiki in that respect, that it's about a lot of hands-on work. And that is something that we are now finally offering, at least the self part, online. Although when you come to the full medical Qigong Buddha Palm training in person, you do a lot of partner work and so forth. We're not really offering that online, but one day we will have those in person again.
Somebody's asking, do you get a paper certificate at the end of the course? And yes, you do.
Yeah, and I also want to shout out to Robin, who's been answering a lot of these questions in the chat. Robin is our the person who will actually mail you your certificate and get that all squared away. She'll probably also be somebody you interact with quite a bit throughout the process, and she keeps track of where everybody is in the program. She's really great at facilitating people's progress and process through the program. And so she's been in the chat answering folks' questions. So thank you, Robin, for that. Honestly, this whole thing is the process of a lot of folks coming together on a great team. And the fact that the system is as great as it is laid out so well and so clearly. The whole system of supporting and nurturing everybody through the process really is a testament to the team and their enthusiasm and their joy at being able to share such great work with folks and help spread the light. So thank you, team. Thank you, Robin. Glad you're here today, fielding a lot of these. Yeah, Robin says, yes, I sent out a batch last week. That's right, she did. This is great. Teresa's asking if the $500 off is valid only for the one-time full payment. No, it's not actually. The payment plan also offers $500 off. So if you choose a payment plan option for joining the training, you still get the $500 discount during this period up until September 8th. Great question. I think we are gonna pull a couple of folks up who are asking questions with their hands raised. So we have Jamie's iPad. So Jamie, let's see if you're there and you're ready. Can we hear you?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Thank you so much. First, I just want to say how grateful I am to have landed in this amazing community. I mean, every day I pinch myself and think, I can't believe I'm here, but it's really such a blessing. And I have a background in competitive martial arts, and I used to assistant teach and then have done Tai Chi and Qi Gong, but really wanted something more in depth. And I was hesitant to join something that was online, but I have to say, after completing the 16 weeks, every day, I just cannot believe how impressed I am with the curriculum, the level of instruction, and the fact that I can continue to go back to it. So thank you for putting this together. And if there's anybody that's hesitant about joining, I really would encourage you to do it. I mean, just for my health, my mind, body, and spirit, I've received so many benefits, and I can't wait to share it more and more with others. My question is that I live locally, and so I didn't know if the one-on-one instruction would be possible to do social distancing, or does that need to be online?
I don't see why we couldn't do a social distance one-on-one. I think that would be a fine way to do it. That's your preference.
Yeah, the only person we have locally now is Nick LaFree. and he has done some of these in person in the past, and I'm pretty sure he could take you down to the beach and do it that way or something. So I do believe that's possible for those who live here, but it's a little harder. There's more logistics to getting it squared away, obviously. If you write into support and you communicate with them, and I believe Robin would help you facilitate getting those booked. It's a good question.
And then I did the Buddha Palm workshop. And then if I'm practicing that as well, does that count toward my practice hours?
It's a great question. The practices themselves, yes. And so I've been sort of, there've been a lot of questions asking for refinement on what exactly to practice. It's not a lot of hours really, given the duration of the program, and several months to get 58 practice hours in is just not a huge amount. So what I really prefer that folks do is focus on learning and deepening their understanding of these 5 elements and 3 treasures curriculum. But I would also encourage you to be continuing to do Buddha Palm, even if it's just once a week, to kind of keep that up, because it is such a powerful thing, and it will contribute a lot to your energy system and contribute to your sensitivity to the 5 elements, your sensitivity in the process of doing these other trainings. But really, ideally, the goal for the 200-hour training is to get you deeply entrenched in these principles that are taught during the specific curriculum. So what we'd like to do is get people up to that 58 hours of practice time with the core curriculum and the stuff that comes alongside it during the weeks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's
so
time
much.
for some clearer guidance on that, because we've had a lot more questions flowing in the recent weeks about details and what about this workshop and that program and so forth. And so I think we need to kind of go a little deeper into explanation about that. Obviously, it's not as clear as it could be. So thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Did you have a comment, Lee?
Somebody was just asking about how these programs are different from other Qigong programs. I was answering them through the chat, but this program is designed so that you understand all Qigong, that it's principle oriented, so that you can really get a handle on. There's a lot of different styles of Qigong out there, and some of them are not explained thoroughly, or why am I doing this in terms of relevancy, and I'm a modern person living a modern life. How is this practice really important, and how can it help me with just things like stress or getting my energy up, or things like that. So taking the esoteric part of the practice, making it very understandable, practical, and then building a firm foundation in that practicality to then build into the mystical and the esoteric. So really creating those bridges so that we understand the why behind the practice, and then we can co-create a practice from what we learn and then individualize it to our everyday life to meet our own very specific needs. And so I think that's going to be what's going to differentiate this particular teacher training from other trainings. It's really a principle-oriented practice with an integrative style.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, did you get all your questions? Did you have any other questions?
No, you answered everything. Thank you.
Okay, just wanted to make sure before I hit the magic button. Lowers your hand. Thank you. And congratulations on getting through the coursework.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited.
Getting close, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Lee, that's a great distinction. I mean, I think one of the things you discover in this process is that there are so many styles and approaches to Qigong, and also so many different ways of teaching it. And historically, I believe, in more traditional methods of teaching tend not to be as explanatory. And I believe one of the things that Lee's such a master of and has really cultivated over many decades is to take these things and kind of go through that process and have that sort of internal gradual unfolding of the why am I doing this and what the heck am I doing and why does this work, that is the hallmark of the traditional styles of teaching, where you don't really ask a lot of questions or get good answers if you do. And then be able to bring that into and deliver it in a way that really works for us Western-minded folks whose brains won't leave them alone and keep asking on, why am I doing this? What's this for? What do we want to know? We do. It's just part of our cultural mental model, I suppose. And Lee's ability to sort of give you just enough of that and just enough to kind of keep the brain going, oh, okay. And then you can kind of get back in the body and really have that embodied experience that is the core of the training. And over time, really be able to live more in that experience than in the intellect, and all the questions, while getting your questions answered, which is really great. And I think that has led him to want to do what he said, which is to start with the principles and really help you understand what it is that's going on here and what the differences are between these, 3,500 different styles of Qigong that are out there and so forth. Lee, I think that's great. I have a question here. How are your additional hours logged and accounted for? Lori, it is on the honor system. You log them yourself. And we may someday have a magical logger software, but maybe not. At this point, it's a Word document or a Google Doc that you fill out when you practice and then submit at the end along with your other documents. So it's just a thing that you do, and we try to make it easy. It's a very simple template. It's just what you practice and when, kind of thing. Hope's asking, one would not have had to take the regular program in order to do the teacher training. There is no prerequisite. Yeah, that's true. It's honestly, you could just show up and be like, this is for me, and dive in. And as Lee said, just let it be a gradual process. I think most people wouldn't do that just because they don't know what they're getting into, and it's kind of a big thing to bite off. But if that's an intuition that you have and it's strong, there is no need to do something else. The training is quite comprehensive, and starting to really learn the 5 elements principles and then the 5 elements flows, all the warm-ups and stretches, it's all in there really. So there are elements of it that for those of us who went to class for many, many months and then dropped into one of these trainings, it's like, oh, I recognize this stuff. But if you were brand new, it would still be delivering the stuff. It's probably the best way to put it. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just answering some questions here on the chat, but I love people's curiosity and inquiries. I think our program is different, and it came from me really having that desire to teach people that didn't really know what Qi was or how to explain it to people. So coming into this program, you get that kind of education where we're going out into the world saying, hey, how can I explain this to people in Silicon Valley, in sitting at a desk, or that maybe are athletes or kids? How is it relevant to our world right now? And it is so relevant. I think it's more relevant now than ever before, just because maybe this is the time I'm living in. I see all the problems that we face, but I think it is just so relevant to what we're facing, right now with the pandemic and our immune system, and people stressed out and feeling powerless. And that's the kind of conversation I want to have, and I want you to be able to have with people as you go through this program and as you finish this program, to really help people understand why they're doing a training like this and why you're doing a program like this. And it's not just about old people in the park that are Asian doing some slow movements. It's really about empowerment and the power of slowing down, having a moment, getting into flow state, clearing stress, and replenishing your own energy. And what a great thing to do right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We have a Claudia with her hand raised, so I'm going to go ahead and offer the unmute if I can get the button to work. There it is. Claudia, did that work?
Yes.
There you go. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
So good to be part of this. I tell people about the training that I'm a real thrifty person, and I own a lot of Lee's DVD. And I was like, am I just trying to buy Qi? Am I trying to throw money at something that I can just keep practicing? But when I kept reading with everything that was offered with it, I just decided to bite the bullet, and I just want to say I've never been sorry. Somebody else said the abundance that you gives it to me, makes me want to give it out. It's just an abundance practice, and I really appreciate that. And I also really appreciate having the opportunity to learn from other teachers. When I was there in October, Lee, you had to go do something with doing something with the kids, and John and your mom made us all teach each other. And that was just such a wonderful experience, you know. I mean, I had done other teachers, but when you say there's 3,500 ways of doing Qigong, how many people are in here that, you know, all of us bring something different to it. You know, we all feel our energy in different ways. And I really appreciate what you've done here today to have people tell their stories. So if you can keep that ongoing, because they are serendipitous and miraculous, you know, and I think it helps inspire all of us in this wonderful community.
Thank you. Yeah. So appreciate that. It was so great having you here. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, you mentioned that investment and, you know, we invest in a lot of things in our life financially, and investing in ourselves can be the best investments. Sometimes we have an aversion to that. We want to invest, but we do spend so much time on our financial investments, but the investment into your own health and healing, I think is just such, you know, it just pays dividends like you wouldn't believe. And that's the magic of this practice. And I love just reorienting towards what we truly get value for. And, you know, when we're not feeling well, you know, we almost will pay anything to get our health back. And Qigong is that way to maintain high levels of health and vitality. And that for me is the best investment we can make. So yeah, I'm just adding to what you're saying.
Right.
I'm seeing that
Claudia,
Hope
did you
has
have Claudia, did you have a question?
I did have a question, because I've been teaching free classes through the library, and they were thinking of trying to do something in person with kids after school. Actually, I thought it was going to be online, and so I just got all excited about it. But when I thought of having kids wearing masks and trying to do deep breathing and feeling protected, I just can't go there. And I just kind of would like you all to talk about that. So much with the COVID, it's just so fear-induced, and what we need is to bring in these practices where we're breathing and stuff. And it would break my heart to see all these little kids with the masks on trying to get this oxygen in their systems. And I really would hope, you know, you got kids, Lee, that would be really wonderful to have a little bit more teacher training on different methods, and have us all the resources and all these teachers who are teaching the kids to help us empower this next generation coming up.
Yeah, I mean, that is so true. I think these guys need those skills and resources, you know, every bit as much as we do. So it is something that's dear to me, and I really want to put some energy into, you know, kids programs for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one now, obviously with the masks and the distancing. But what I would say is that the process still works better than not doing it, even if you're trying to breathe through a mask. And you know, the breathing, you know, you get a little momentum through the mask and you can breathe very deeply, and it works fine. It's just a little bit, it's a little less easy and a little less flowing, but not doing it, not breathing deeply, not, you know, showing up in that way energetically is an unfortunate side effect that a lot of people experience when they wear the mask, and they're kind of like not sure how to breathe fully. So I actually practice breathing, Qigong breathing through the mask, just to make sure I'm actually getting all the oxygen I need, and breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and kind of creating that same breathing flow that we do in our practice and in our training. Works great for me, and I don't really ever feel like there's some shortage of oxygen for me personally. So what I would say is, personally, it's the lesser of two evils in a way. It's like, is it you know, better to have the mask and still get the training and still get the experience as much as you can? It's less than you would normally, or is it better to not have the training? And I would say probably better to have it. Probably better to give them that opportunity.
I think at this point, the library isn't going to be allowed to do it quite yet. But it did inspire me to come up with some sort of curriculum for the kids, you know, like this Zoom business. Could you imagine? Well, you probably have done it all day. I've never done it even this long, you know. It's just to get the kids up, have like a commercial break in between the classes and get everybody to move their energy, because it's so hard just to sit there and watch, you know. So go, Lee, go get some curriculum up there for us too. And any other teachers, just, put it on the teacher training Facebook page if you've got some videos or something that can help the rest of us. Because my partner said, "Why do you want to teach kids? I didn't even think you liked kids." And I said, "Well, that's because I am a big kid and they don't recognize me."
It's funny.
So,
I love that.
I would like to try to, like I say, I'm anymore when the Jehovah's Witness come to the door, I listen to them, because I understand that verb, that's this energy that makes you want to share. That's something that's changed your life, and sometimes I have to dial it back.
I can relate. Well, it's beautiful, and I appreciate your enthusiasm. And do jump on the Facebook group and ask around, because I know there are several people who work with kids, and some of the like one of the people who was in my original teacher training all those years ago works with teaches yoga to caregivers of children, for example, and that's been her career path for quite some time. And it's a good model, and now she teaches Qigong, obviously, as well. So she's, you know, there are a number of people who do stuff with children in the group, and I imagine you could get a little powwow together. So I hope you do that. Thanks so much for coming on today, Claudia.
Well, thank you so much for saying that too about the mask. You know, I don't want to have a block, and I do think you're right. Doing something beats doing nothing. And hello, Kelly. We got to get you out here as soon as this is over. Lopez Island. Thanks,
Absolutely. Lopez Island.
You too, Ben.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Thanks, Claudia. See you soon. I know we're home stretching, but there are a couple other questions. So I'm going to ask you, Lee. Hope has asked, what kind of Qigong does Lee teach?
Yeah, I answered her online, but you know, that's a great question. I teach an integrative style because I've trained with so many people through China and all over Southeast Asia, here in the States. And, you know, I try to really distill the best practices so that they are relevant and make sense and really keep us on track. And that being said, it's a principle-oriented practice, so it's integrative in its style. And then we really do some authentic styles like 5 elements and 3 treasures that you become well-versed at. I teach a lot of my favorite styles like swimming dragon, Dao Yin. You know, I bring in elements of the 8 pieces of the brocade all the time. So there's a lot of styles you'll learn. I'll speak to the style when I'm doing it, but my approach is very integrative, and Qigong is that way in its different styles. Each teacher will sort of internalize what they learn from their masters and then create a variation of the style or do it very authentically to the style. I think that we need to start learning more principles about this practice out of the, let's say, I don't teach a style where it's you memorize rote learning, meaning that you don't just memorize a form. Here's the 30 movements to a Holden QiGong form or to a particular style. I don't like doing it that way because I want you to understand the principles, and I want you to also come into your own flow. So there's a heavy emphasis on learning the principles and really getting into flow state, elevated energy states. I'm feeling and experiencing your Qi without it having to be a form and a formal training. So it's going to be a little more informal and really weighted towards the integrative and principle-oriented style. So there's that.
Great way to put it. Yeah. Well, I know there have been a few other questions flowing through, and I feel like Kelly and Robin have been doing a fantastic job. So if we missed anything, however, please do feel free to get in touch with the support team or with us through the support team. And the link, Zach just put the link into the page all about the training itself. It goes into all the details of what's included and so forth. And he's also going to put our support email address in there, which is just support@holdenqigong.com. And our support phone number, which is also on the page about the training and so forth, which is 844-4-QiGong. So there's a couple of different ways to reach out if you have more questions or if you want to talk about your particular situation and whether it's right for you or how you might go through the program and so on. So there's a lot of ways to get help over the next few days, making the decision if that's what you need. If not, and you're just ready to jump in, please do join us. We'd love to have you. And this group that's forming up, it's been fun to watch people raising their hand and signing up and entering the Facebook group and becoming part of the training. So I'm looking forward to seeing this group more, getting to know folks, and we're gonna call it a day here in just a minute. Lee, do you have any parting thoughts before we
Gosh, thanks so much, guys. It was really inspiring. It's so great to have everybody on and hear from our teachers and hear their stories and just share in this beautiful practice. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have such a robust, well put together teacher training. Took a whole team effort, not only me teaching, but everybody organizing it behind the scenes. The Qi Lords know that organization isn't my strong suit. So it was great to have Ben and team just put this together in such a great way that's easy to follow, digestible, consumable in a way that maintains the depth and the breadth of the practice. So I think it's exciting that we have this ability to learn this on an online content. I mean, this practice really does well with online learning because it's video based and you want to see the movement. So it's hard to do in a book. So I love it. I think it's great. And we continue to add improving elements to it all the time. So thanks all so much for joining and having the conversation. And I can't wait to see some of you in the teacher training certification. It's going to be wonderful.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Lee. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Big, huge thank you to the teachers who came and spoke with us today. Thank you all. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Dror. Thank you, Kristen. And, and Angela, my apologies. I know you're still there, even though I can't see you anymore. And we will see you all soon. And blessings to you all. Thank you so much for joining us today. The replay will go up on YouTube if you had to miss some of it. And we'll see you then. Bye, all.